We are given a detailed explanation of the infernal cult. The narrator explains that the infernal cult reversed the martial and infernal arts, and among the many sects within the cult, there were 6 core sects. We see 6 people standing in a circle facing outwards. There's the Shadow Sect, Sword Sect, Stealth Sect, Poison Sect. The Musician Sect representative is shown holding an instrument, and the Saber Sect representative holding a large saber. The narrator continues, saying that the sects were sworn through a pact to give all their maidens to the patriarch of the infernal cult to produce their heirs. We can see a man looking at 4 women whose gaze is all directed towards the ground. The heirs then become eligible to be minor priests and are raised by their mothers' families. When the child becomes of age, they are allowed to enter the Academy of Infernal Arts. However, it only opens once every 10 years. We can see a large courtyard that's barren, surrounded by a few buildings. The instructors and teachers inside the academy are the very best masters within the cult, and its goal is to pit the students against each other and raise their martial arts skill to their absolute limit. But there is a specific time when competition between everyone becomes especially fierce. 3 students are seen training with a sword in the courtyard, as their instructors watch them from an elevated platform. It is when the candidates for the minor priesthood enter the academy. Some members in the cult call this the grand tournament for the minor priesthood. We see 3 boys with a grown-up blacked-out person behind each of them. We are now back to the present. Yo remembers that the old man used to be in the poison sect, so he can't let him find out he has nanomachines in his body. He quickly turns his head away from the physician to avoid his gaze. The old man just watches him without saying anything. Nano reassures Yo, telling him that it is currently impossible to know of the machine's existence with the current medical methods of their time period. Physician Baek is in deep thought. He is confident that someone helped the young master fight the stealth squad. He tells Jang that the young master is in perfect health, so he will just prescribe some herbal medicine to restore his vigor. Guard John beams at the news that the young master is in good health. He thanks the old man. The physician turns around to leave. When he reaches the door, Guard Jang asks him if he needs escorting back to his quarters. The old man replies, saying that there is no need, asking if he could just watch over the young master. He closes the door and thinks about how mysterious everything is now. He wonders if it's possible for someone to completely transform their body. He remembers when the young master was younger, he was smaller than all his peers, and since he was unable to learn any martial arts, he was sure the young master would be cast aside eventually. But he tells himself that now the young master's body is just as developed as any of the young masters of the other 6 sects who had been practicing and training their body for years. He may be the son of a servant girl, but the blood of his holiness runs strong in him. The patriarch never had any interest in this young master. Did he change his mind? The old man thinks to himself. As he walks out into the sunlight, saying that if his holiness has helped the young master in secret, there is no reason for him to call it out. He chuckles as he thinks that the academy is going to be quite interesting this year. Yo lets out a sigh of relief, as he doesn't think Physician Beck noticed anything odd about his body. He then realizes that he isn't only alive thanks to the nano machine. If Guardian hadn't rescued him in time, he might have died from other causes. He sits up slowly, looking at Jang's direction and thanks him for saving him, but before the young master can even finish his sentence, Guard Jang puts his hand up. His other hand is blocking his nose, and he tells Yo to take a bath first before anything else. He once again forgot how bad he stunk, as the atrocious odors emanate from all over his body. He is seen in a wooden tub, chest deep in hot steaming water. He calls out to Nano and asks her how much she can heal him if he were to get a fatal injury. She explains that external wounds such as sword wounds or internal damage to organs would be very quick to stop the bleeding and heal. But things like blood or flesh loss would take a lot longer to repair, as they require cell division. He pulls a dumb face, thinking to himself that she is once again saying a bunch of words he doesn't understand. He wonders to himself if he should just test it out quickly to see if it's really true what she is saying. He takes out a sharp dagger and rests it on his hand. He slices his hand in the palm area, and he recoils from the pain as the blood starts to drip into the clear bath water. Nano announces that the healing of the knife injury will now commence. He watches his hand in amazement as the healing process starts, as his hand starts to emit a faint green aura. He sees the wound stop the bleeding almost immediately, and then the fibers connecting to each other, closing the wound in a matter of seconds. Yeo is very surprised by the speed Nano can heal wounds. He splashes deeper into the bath, still looking at his hand. He thinks to himself that he just saw it with his own eyes, but he can still hardly believe it. He asks Nano about all the information that she transferred into his brain, and asks her if he can really use all those other abilities. She responds by saying that he is correct, and he agrees that after the bath he should test them all out. As he gets out, he flexes his chest and tells Nano that it's incredible how much his body has changed. My muscles have grown as if I have been training for years, Yeo says as he stares at his biceps. An old woman comes into the room, telling the young master that she has brought his clothes. She wraps his clothing around his body and exclaims that the clothes look a bit tighter than usual. We see Yeo in the library, as Nano tells him that the next step to learn the abilities is getting a grasp on the martial texts as a foundation. Yeo stares at the bookshelf, and she tells him that he doesn't have to spend too long reading the book. Just pausing on every page for a second or two will suffice. This surprises the young master a little bit. He picks out the only martial art textbook that there is in the library, the Acupoints and Qi Circulation Manual. Yeo tells Nano that he is going to start, and she tells the young master to proceed. He starts flipping through each of the pages one by one. Nano starts processing all the information inside the book. He closes the book, telling Nano that he has flipped through every single page. She announces that the Acupoint text scan has been completed and that she will be transferring to user's brain. She asks for confirmation, and Yeo confirms as he puts the book down on the table with a big thud. Nano starts the data transfer, and Yeo's vision goes blank. All he can see is a page on top of him as he glances up. Nano cheerfully exclaims that the data has been successfully transferred. Yeo is unable to stand up straight and digs his fingers into the table to stay upright. He starts gasping for air, however this time he didn't throw up all over the floor. Nano tells the young master that he will adjust soon. He teases Nano, asking her if she feels sorry for him now, but Nano simply says that she was stating the facts. Yeo calls the Nano a soulless scoundrel in a playful manner as he starts gathering his composure again after the transfer. He flops back into his chair, asking Nano what to do next. She tells him to just think of the information he wants, like when he received the transfer of the instructions manual. He puts his hand on his chin, not expecting much to happen. Suddenly, he starts talking about Acupoint in amazing detail and depth. He is shocked by how much he knows already from just one book, as his eyes grow wide when understanding how much information he will be able to obtain through Nano using this method. He commends Nano for this ability, calling it incredible. He says that it's not simply memorization, he understands the whole text, as if he carefully studied the book for a lengthy period of time. Nano also mentions that she corrected any errors in the text before transferring it. Yeo is surprised by this and asks if there were any errors in the text she just transferred. She tells him that there were a few errors in the text regarding acupoints based on the information stored in her database. The young master starts to smile slightly and gets chills thinking about all the books he can read and the knowledge he would be able to obtain through Nano's abilities. He thinks back to earlier in his life. He explains that the other 6 young masters have trained in the advanced martial arts since they were small, but because of the packed and watchful eyes, all he could do was learn the 3 powers breathing methods. He grips his fists, thinking about the library in the Academy of the Infernal Art that holds not only the infernal martial art texts, but also the texts pillaged from the righteous and evil factions. He looks out to the horizon with his head held high. I have a clear goal now. I will use this ability to become more powerful than anyone else at the Academy, he says confidently. We are now shown the residence of the stealth sect's successor to the minor priesthood in the southeast corner within the infernal cult city walls. We see a boy whose head is turned away. He says he asked the squad to get rid of the little bothersome trash, but now all 5 of the members are dead. He asks the man with all 4s on the floor if he should be expected to believe such a far-fetched story. The man on the floor cautiously tells him that there must have been a hidden master that helped the young master Yeo escape. He then raises his head to address young master Mugum. The boy snaps his head around and screams at the man. "How dare you call me by my given name?" he shouts. The man on the floor immediately apologizes, calling him young Master Cheon swiftly after. The young Master Cheon thinks aloud, saying that he thought someone of such lowly birth would be completely helpless. He wonders if maybe young Master Yeo has been hiding something up his sleeve. He clicks his tongue, telling himself that he even made sure to separate him from his guard, and he wonders if maybe there is a second person who is protecting him. He raises his hand, exclaiming that he didn't want to dirty his hands, but it looks like he has no choice. He clenches his fist and pulls a devilish smile. Young Master Cheon decides that if he wants to get rid of young Master Yeo, he will have to do it himself at the academy.